Right. I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man, space was. And my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
It gives them the right, some guardian of lion that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times that she's
a vendetta, an homage. I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. Oh, she's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperience is people that burn a pizza. Inexperience is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. Introduced as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for, but that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt the house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the sustantion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake. I can only count to four. I can only count to four. Nina. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? You fall on the ground. What are you doing on the ground? Don't pick this stuff. Be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Neeners. Neener beaners. Hey. Nina. Hey. Look it. What we got to do? What we got to do to you, boo-boo? How are we going to fix it?
Good evening, my family out there. I hope these messages find you well. For I come with you for the first transmission of hope. We are the United Coalition of Family Fighters. For the last time, CPS has taken our children for profit and destroyed our family heritage and our hearts. Let this be known from this point forward. CPS, you have a battle on your hands that you've never seen before. We are going to attack you from the courtroom, from the computer desk, to the streets where you come and take our children from. Everywhere you turn, from this point forward, you will see one of us. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For those of you who have lost your kids, we are coming. Be hopeful. Be kind to one another. Stand as a legion. We will need you, for this fight will not be easy. And we can all not win it alone. We need to unite, strong, solid, for all to be a part. And when we do so, the destruction of Child Protective Services will finally be achieved. Stay tuned for your next transmission.
All right, well, that's our intro, and welcome to another show with me and the Laird, and we got his friend here, Katrina. This here is a show about Child Protective Services and the corruption in which they wrong all of us, and it's every day of every week of every second of every moment that they're doing this. There's my man, Mr. Laird. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm upright and taking nourishment. That's all we can do.
Well, let's hope we can get some understanding and clarification to get these people knowing what to do.
Yes, sir. And then you got your guest tonight is Katrina, right? She's on board just to hang out and throw in a comment or two if she'd like to.
Definitely.
All right.
I mean, I'd rather hear from the victims than anybody else, wouldn't you?
That's who we need to hear from. I mean, we're all victims, that's for damn sure, but nice to hear some fresh stories, that's for sure.
You got it.
So what do you think, Katrina? What do you got? What's your story? How does this go with you? She's not ready yet for us. That's all right. Laird, let's talk about some craziness in this conspiracy world.
The conspiracy is only until proven.
Right. Well, you know, these people are going to think that we're tinfoil hat wearers and everything else.
You ain't
But
gotta
that's
be
until
like
they,
tinfoil.
but that's until they find out what the
The
reality of
truth.
the situations are.
That is no doubt.
You know,
That's
and
the
that
biggest
is
key
the
too.
yeah. Well, let's just say that this is the biggest money making machine that our government has going for it.
And actually, it's the world machine.
It's dominating. It's getting CPS is definitely taken over Britain and England. It's moved its way that way. There's CPS in Guam now.
Yep.
There's CPS. It's the CPS machine is absolutely taking over the world, and the end of the game is what?
But here's the problem. This is not global CPS.
Go ahead, explain.
Since I have child kidnapping code words to initiate response, immediate responses, one of the biggest things about this is this. I push through your state commissioner's office for their higher authority. Like I told them, I've got people I need to either make a member alert immediately upon, or I need to know what the hell's going on. So they gave me the global CPS unit. Well, it seems like money and paperwork failure right there in the commissioner's office. In other words, somebody's pocketing money on us. So the upper and the lower are not connected. One is fraud, and one is global. I went through the payroll and treasury over here with the global CPS, with say the superintendents, the supervisors, the caseworkers, to find out if they were paid individuals by these global CPS. They confirmed every individual I stated, from Texas to Washington State to Missouri, Massachusetts. None of them are on their payroll. Nowhere to be found. That makes an impersonation and a fraud situation.
So who are we looking at for this? Who are we looking at to be the culprits?
The
The
governor,
governors?
governor,
So the
attorney
governors
general.
of each one of our states, right? Every 50, all 50 governors, they're all the ones that are in control of this.
Well, let me explain why that works out that way. The executive director of the executive branch, who is the director over social services and all law enforcement, including state patrol, is the governor. That's your culprit, backed by attorney generals.
Right, that's what I was just going to say. You got that attorney general sitting there right in their back pocket, just pushing this
That's
along,
a consumer
right?
protection attorney. He's supposed to officially be for the people.
What other government entity uses its top echelon of law enforcement agents to prosecute families that have supposedly abused and neglected their children?
Well, remember the part I said, the president and the governor?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is why. There can be no other than those two individuals. From the simple fact, those are both executive directors, executive branch, meaning law enforcement and social services, the social investigator. Now, here's the thing. The only person who can stand down in a state patrol unit, stand down every officer all the way to the ground, is the governor. He was the only one with the authority to stand down and deny us the civil defense towers and emergency response of Amber Alerts.
Now, do you think every governor in all of these states is aware that they are in control of the destiny of the American family?
Brother, I'm going to tell you, I've got records where the Texas governor called Oklahoma and stood down everything from state patrol all the way down to constituents' office and city law enforcement from reporting of a kidnapping event. Because I confirmed it myself, now by calling the county, calling the state patrol, initiating them under child kidnapping command code words. They refused to engage. Blatant refusal. So I called the governor's office, which is the commanding director. The constituent's office tried to give me a runaround playing dumb. But not a one would take the report is the problem. These are our elected officials. Not doing their fucking job, dude. In fact,
This is
come
this is
to
what I
some
keep saying
wages.
to people. And I know that in the eyes of some people, the vote doesn't matter, but it really does when we show our force and show the massive amounts of people. I know that they're hiding these votes. I know that they're doing all kinds of things, and I know that the elected officials are most likely already, they already are made up before we go to those booths. But at least if we can start to show our amount, this is what people don't understand. There's a whole bunch of us that are affected by the Child Protective Services and how they destroy our families. But everybody's
That's
broken
exactly
apart,
right.
and there's, the Northeast Division, and there's this division. There's no unity here. And what we need is, I mean, I'll bet you it's the strongest force this side of the equator, man. If you really take all the parents and all the family members, the brothers, the sisters, the mothers, the aunts, the uncles, grandparents, every person that's affected by each child, as long as their name can be heard, they're affected. And people need to realize they've got to stand up to this.
Well, let's actually get real correct on this real fast. You notice Facebook has been directly attacking these parents to shut them up. I mean, deleting accounts. I mean, throwing them in Facebook jail to shut them up. Quit talking about it. Here's your problem, Mike. Just to be real with you, and I'm going to be straight across the board. And I hope like hell it pisses them off. We're talking the Rainbow World Prostitution Organization ring. That's what the fuck we're talking about. Yeah, I said prostitutes.
Yep.
That's what this is about. Moving pussy.
It's just as plain as it is, man. Unfortunately.
Well, remember years ago, Richard Nixon, Jackie O, that was the Watergate scandal. You got Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton. That's a Watergate scandal. But nobody called the card.
Nobody wants to call a spade anymore. Everybody's too scared of this unit because it's so powerful.
You're not afraid to call it. I'm not afraid to call it.
No, because I got too much at stake here, man.
Well, here's the thing. Our children being taken and mine being raped by government individuals abusing their offices. Brother, I'm going to tell you right now, this is tyranny at its finest. This is treason by your government.
This is treason. This is bigger. This is slavery by your government, because I believe it says that no human ought to own or possess or have another human and use it for profit or trade or that's called slavery. But yet, who makes out on these things? These caseworkers. The caseworkers are getting incentives to adopt children faster. The foster families that are taking these kids are getting all kinds of subsidies for their jobs and doing this. Everybody is profiting off of our kids as the parents of these children are sitting there begging and pleading for them to come home.
Well,
I mean, if they want to give some money up, go give it to us.
Well, here's the biggest problem of all. They're picking on the poor. But like I was telling you before, this ain't justice. This is just us. And that's what their term of justice is. It doesn't account for us. We're cattle. We're slaves. That's why they came in here and cut our children away as if they were selling them as livestock.
Right, they're attacking us because they're thinking we don't have the money to pay 50, 100, 200,000. I mean, man, I've lost my savings, my life savings. I've lost a ton of things since this because I've paid every dime of every dollar that we've had. I mean, we've sold down to our clothing and stuff to get money and raise money to fight this thing. And it's so expensive because nobody's listening. No news agencies are paying.
They're listening. They know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, what's it going to take?
It takes the people to step up. Here's one of the things they forget to tell you the most about an employee and employer. I own my own business for a reason. I catch you breaking in to steal my money, I'm going to shoot you dead. I'm not to be questioned. I own the goddamn business. I called that service to my service. Now think about that. You're stealing my money.
Yeah, you're the boss.
That's right. Well, the people are the employer of every fucking public servant out here. Technically, you pick your firearm up and you put a bullet through them. See how fast this shit stops right there.
Hey, listen, I say all the time, it's just like in nature, man. It's in nature. What happens? You go out and take a wolf cub or a wolf pup, or you take a bear cub, or you take even an eagle out of an eagle's nest. What's going to happen to you? Facts.
Attack you and hope they kill you.
Right. They're not fighting to get you away. They're fighting to death.
Yeah.
And why the American people, why we sit and roll over and just allow these, take our young, go ahead, take them. It's fine. And because
Right.
these people have such. We talked about it earlier. They take away your self-esteem, your self-worth. They isolate you because you feel like a worthless person. You're depressed. You got PTSD from what you've been through. You can't even stomach to face or tell the story to anybody who doesn't. I mean, the only people that you get to learn to talk to are people that are involved in this. Because
Well, the
otherwise,
other
no one
part of
gives a
this,
fuck. No one wants to hear your
the
story.
other part of this doctor situation, this is medical kidnapping because this is forced suicide.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, that's what it is. How do I get my enemy to not be able to convict me of my crime? I exhaust them for 2 years because there's a 2-year tort lawsuit value. They claim you only have 2 years to come for a tort value. Here's the bad problem. I'm not a lawyer. Well, I'm more a lawyer than I am attorney. But at the
Right.
same point, I'm not bound by that higher educational rule. Time limit.
You don't understand legalese.
I don't. I'm not time barred nor time exhausted. Because you cannot exhaust an individual person.
Right, so we get like a little bit of we get a little bit of leniency with the courts, right? Not being an actual bar attorney, or
But you,
they're
the thing
they're
is,
supposedly give you a little bit of
they're forced to have to. But what they're doing is they're trying to hold you to a level of bar, right? Well, they're held
yeah, there we
to a
go.
bar because of their education level. We are not held to that bar, and they're not required that standard of whatever professional, because this is not our occupation.
Right.
Our occupation is not to sit in that damn courtroom. And here's the funniest thing about this courtroom. Under an unequal application of business law, I can take out a fucking business quick. Now, child support was deemed illegal because they wrote what was it? Child support enforcement. It had to be done as a law in the state of Missouri. So there's no law, but when you prejudice it to one business for an action, and removed it under unconstitutionality. It's an unconstitutional law. It's denial of business. But with any other accountant, you can go to any accountant you want to figure your bills. You don't need the state to figure that.
Right, those bootleggers are going to come get you fast enough. They'll let it figure out for you.
You know how that works, though. But it's
Yes,
this
sir.
thing. This is accountant bullshit.
Right, and we aren't into the business of being in business here. We're parents.
Well, we got a living business.
Right. Well, that's the other
Well,
thing.
that's
These lawyers, this is what people don't understand either. Is you don't speak in court because you're not supposed to speak. We're dead. You know, they're not. That's not their MO. Isn't to allow us to speak.
Well, let me explain something about these courts. You're being told wrongful information to begin with. Now, we are under the house of God, and we live in a small house because we're many gods. Each individual person is a parent, and you have the proof of that godliness by the birth and the miracle of life of your child. Point blank. That's the real deal right there.
Right.
Now, if you notice, the church is not in the cemetery. The cemetery is beside the church. We live under the house of God here. That's where you people live. Next door to us is commercial law and administration. That's the cemetery. That's where fictitious business entities reside. That's the dead, the corpse, in corpse. Now, do you understand where the lay in the law lays?
Yes, sir. I do.
Kinda
That's
screws
great.
them
You
up
put
real
things in such layman's terms. It makes it much easier to understand.
Well, that's the point of a layman, to be able to speak to the people. Because the whole
Right.
is, if I can't speak to you, I can't represent you, my friend.
Yeah, and if you can't get that message across nice and clear and crisp so that you do understand it, then you're not going to be able to stand up and fight your way out of it.
And that's what they play a card on you. I've heard so many governors and everything. I don't understand you. They're not, and you're not representing me, obviously.
Right, my favorite term is this. My favorite term is you're misinterpreting the law. You're not reading how the law is supposed to be. Now I'm reading it exactly how it's supposed to be. And you're just trying to twist it on me. Did we get Katrina? Katrina, you here yet?
I know she's under a heavy heart and everything else right now.
Yeah,
They took her daughter. They got her in a FMC Carswell, refusing to
sons of
release her.
bitches.
They took the kid, and then a Judge Garza decided to write a arrest warrant for her, and has left her there without a prosecution case for 2 years. The
Really?
daughter's already had a heart situation, everything else due to the undue stress, cruel and unusual punishment, abuse to
Wow.
the court.
Now, who did they leave in jail? Her,
She's been through
Katrina?
hell.
And I see, you know, a lot of these stories, the people that I talk to, there's a lot of unethical jailing, I guess, of these people going on. Like, as soon as they know that your kid's a target, they're prosecuting you in some way, or they're holding you with bonds, you know, bail bonds that you can't even come close to achieving, or, you know, any of these type of things. Yep. Now they're double dipping because they're getting your money on the jail side. They get your kid over there. Because people don't understand.
You remember the rule of custody. If you have custody of someone, you're required to pay for that, right?
Correct.
Now, when you go to jail, who's paying all the bills for the phone calls and everything else?
That's what I'm saying. They got double dipping now.
Misapplication of funds and billing. That's misapplied. You took custody, you're responsible.
Yep.
That also means you're responsible for their attorney as well.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, though, right? Because once you get in that clink, man, you're starting to get federal appropriations for them to have you in that jail. You know, they're getting money there. Now, I've assumed that as soon as they got your kid, they go immediately to get that 72-hour hearing. So because as soon as that 72-hour hearing hits, I mean, as soon as they can get into a courtroom and get your case seen in front of a judge, their money starts pouring in from that federal government.
Well, I think you just said the right key right there, actually. Normally, housing administration would be helping the welfare, somebody's below poverty. And that's critical because your jails, your governors, your prisons are stealing that damn money. They're claiming you're under poverty and they've claimed you. And that's how they're really actually incarcerating you, to pay for your billing a day. So technically the way to come out of there is by billing you out. You have to be too sick for them to want to have. That way you're going to cost them medical costs, and they'll get you out of there quick. When you go to prison, there's not AIDS victims in there. There's not tuberculosis victims in there because they cost too much in medical services. That's above Medicaid and Medicare,
Right.
which is all an inmate's going to get. Now, a guard, they're going to get premium health care. How they get it? Off them fucking inmates. Now, let me just show you how it really works. Under the Department of Labor, Treasury complaints and everything else, those inmates aren't convicted of law. They're volunteers. As an employee, volunteers. How else would you get Medicaid and Medicare if you weren't an employee? Okay, move it on from there. I got 10 inmates. I claim it's lawful that I lock you up. Okay, director's taking 9 of those paychecks, putting them in his pocket, then he's gonna pay one of the other people from outside here to come babysit your ass and give him premium insurance.
Yep.
That's
giving them benefits. Yep.
And while you pay the inmate 12 cents a day, my friend, remember the word, they didn't proclaim it slavery. They proclaimed it servitude, improper pay. Now, I'm working for the state when I'm in state prison. I'm working for federals when I'm in the federal prison. Therefore, you required to pay me the premium wage and the per diems overnight of these inmates. Department of Labor Secretary should be on his fucking job, and he's not doing his job. We need to get that man out of there.
You need to get them all out of there, man, because this system is so broken. You're not gonna fix it.
Broken.
This is not a fixable
They
situation.
broke it. Well, think about this, my friend. If I take a child from you, now you're gonna lose contact with your child. I'm gonna cut your child up as a piece of meat, and I'm gonna donate it out as body organs. Now I'm making over $150,000 per child. On top of that, I'm claiming room and board, a service I'm gonna bill you for. No matter what happens, I'm still billing you.
Yep. And that's
There's
what
the problem.
that's the truth is, and these people need to understand this. You know, look at how many kids are missing in between the point of getting TPR'd from their parents and then being adopted. There's a massive amounts of kids that are missing in that little joint sessions, and I'm sorry to say, people, these are those kids that you're talking about that have been trafficked or that are used for Scientology, or they're used, whatever, for these
These
awful, awful
experimental.
situations, which I don't even want to talk about it here because it's enough to make your fucking billy go puke. But it's the reality of things. And it's sickening and it's fucked, and that's why, if any reason, you should be getting your asses involved in this, because this stuff isn't supposed to be happening.
Well, it's not only that, my friend. You have to first understand the symbology of the president is the symbology of the family, and the family is the full authority. The other is a symbol. We are the authority. So this entire children's situation means national security situation is what's occurring here. And that is the fact of the situation. So apply upon yourself the national security presidential administrative executive rules. Shoot to kill. Right to defend your home, life, and property, and your child by any and all means necessary. In the action of tyranny by government and sales of your children as cattle, you have every right to shoot to kill. You pretty much got the right to go into that government office, which belongs to you and put by the people and the people's money, and take them out. Now, I'm not suggesting it, but I'm just telling you.
No, we definitely are not advocating for that.
that.
But what we are advocating for is, you know what, it is time to pull the trigger, and to pull that trigger is stand up. You don't let CPS come and take your fucking child. You know what? Make the cops, force the cops to arrest you. You defend at all costs.
Well, technically, they're supposed to be arresting them CPS workers. Because one, let me say it this way. If your child's in danger, like they claim that child was in danger, you'd have had an ambulance at your house, not a CPS order. Just a real story. Where's the ambulance?
Yeah.
If that child is in danger, you had an accident, anything was life-threatening, you'd have had an ambulance at that door. There's a fact they overlooked.
Yeah, why is that? Why isn't that, all these imminent danger situations and medical this, medical that, they don't bring your kid to the doctor for a day, or there's no emergency. Because, if someone calls in that you overdose or you have something like that, first thing that gets there before the cops get there is the fucking ambulance.
You damn right, in the job of the cop. He trained as in medical life-saving if possible, if need to be. But his first and foremost job is traffic. To stop the impeding of traffic, so that ambulance can get to you. That's what his job is.
You're supposed to defend the roads for you to have a clear shot as the ambulance driver. That makes complete and perfect sense.
Now, here's the thing. That cop is a city cop, county cop, state cop. Won't matter what cop he is. His job is still on that road. That's where his authority lays. That also means they're under the Department of Transportation, and they're not flying their DOT numbers as required.
Now, what do you mean by that?
A criminal would remove that DOT number, because that DOT number would allow you a proper violation under the Department of Transportation upon them. A criminal will hide that from you. So the fact they don't have it provides the criminal intent. That's the right way to say it. Fuck you, officer, goodbye, get the hell off my property, you're going to jail.
Yeah, it's just, they have no jurisdiction, and when they do anything, what is the only place a cop has jurisdiction is the police department and the town hall. Unless they are called and fucking asked to come to a place, they got no business doing nothing. They don't have the right to just pull over and ask Joe Blow, hey, what are you doing, Sammy? What are you playing baseball? Let me check your pockets. They have no jurisdiction in that, and they shouldn't be doing that. And if you challenge that in the court of law, you would win.
Well,
or you should.
Equal application of law means this. The male has to search a male, that's gay, I'm sorry. Female has to search a female, that's gay. Prison, they don't intermix sex, that's gay. What is their real intention other than to create a faggot here? I mean, gay people go to prison just to pick up a boyfriend. They're fucking happy as hell in there, they don't mind.
Wow, you see it in the shows all the time. You get the ones that put the makeup on and they get in there and they,
yes.
They're wanting to sell themselves and they do their thing. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but hey, that's their own prerogative. But If that's what
brother,
the MO is.
imagine a world without women. What's your choice? But then again, like I kind of tell some people, over here in St. Joe, Missouri, we've got puppies on parole, but nobody's ever looked and asked why the puppy got the biggest ass in town. I'm not kidding you one bit, homie. At night, you hear them puppies howl.
Well,
What do
here's
you think
my
is happening?
question is how many of them come out of there? I get at least. You got to do
Well,
what you got to do. Inside those bars is like Vegas. You know what happens inside is happens inside. But
right,
it's what you take from that, and when you come out, what you end up as a human being is what you are there. You
well,
know,
let's
like
think about the puppy as a victim first. It's because you're putting all men in a society with no women, no sexual relief. You're creating an
an
aggressive
explosive
society.
situation,
Well, it's aggressive, first of all.
right?
No sexual release. And then you
Sexual
put a
release in
puppy in
men
there.
is very huge. It's very huge for men and women. You know, as much as a woman doesn't want to. You know, we were put on this earth to procreate. You know, there's
That's
a reason that
goddamn right.
those emotions get attached to that. You know, when you have that sexual animosity or ambiguity or whatever you want to call it. You know,
Yep.
if you don't get that sexual release, it causes your mind to go haywire.
It
You know, you
creates
have
an
women
imbalance
flipping
of
out with a
hormones.
bipolar and all that stuff. That's the direct result of sexual frustration.
That and more. But yeah, you're correct. But
You know, and
now
these
we
are
got
deep.
victim
These are
puppies in
these.
there.
Right.
The, I'm just telling you, them puppies, a lot of them ended up in protective custody is what happened.
Yeah.
But they're not stopping the puppy parole program. They don't give a
Right.
crap
So what are you
about
saying?
them.
I don't understand. What are you saying when they get out of there? That's what for them. Like, it's what you're creating into the society. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is you're putting a bunch of men into a facility with no women. You're putting women
Right.
guards in there. That sexuality, some of us men will rape them women.
Yeah.
You take
Well,
10
then men
years
are
ain't
going to
never
rape
person
them
you're
men.
going to rape a woman.
No, you absolutely do not.
But you see what I'm saying? You're creating the danger. It's like putting gas and waiting for somebody to light that spark.
Right.
But now you got these little puppies in there staying overnight in the men's cells with their own little box and cage and everything else. Like I said, when a puppy comes out with a butthole like that, boys, you know what happened.
Right.
Their animals are getting raped in there. Straight up. That sexual release had to go somewhere. And you
Yeah.
decided to put a dog. You didn't care about the animal either.
Right, and no one's saying about that. No one, you know what? It's a joke. It's a fucking joke in this society that all these rapes are happening in there. But yet, this is all this. This whole thing is just creating this, creating. You know, like you can't. What these guys are going to come out and say? Oh man, I got raped and I have problems. No,
No, you don't talk
I'm not
about
going
that
to.
shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When you come out of jail, what happened in jail stays in jail, man. You know,
Just
not
like
only
Vegas, I'm
so right. So these dudes, you just fucked with their heads. You fucked with their whole mentality. You made them less than a man. You know, like all of this has done that.
Let me put it this way. In 95, when I was in Algoa, I watched a little boy come in there. Now, here's what I do when I'm in prison. First thing I do with these new youngsters, I tell them, here's the rules and here's what it takes. You want to make it here? Great. I got no problem with it. The first rule is if you're not willing to fight for yourself, there ain't nobody here going to fight for you.
Right.
And 9 out of 10, there's going to be a big motherfucking nigger come check you. That's on a get-go. I've had one little redhead boy came in with a 3-year sentence, hit the fence 3 times. He's going to finish 21 fucking years before he starts his 3 again.
Wow.
That wasn't a sentence. That was a sentence on a sentence. I've had Indian boy. It was one of those deals. One of these big boys, he honored in from the level 5 over the walls, one of the worst prisons here in Missouri. I gave him the same rules. You stand up, I will stand with you. It came to that same honorable, that boy honored over. Man, this boy had been down for 23 years, about to come out in 25. And the problem is this, like the Indian boy said, like I told him, you know what to do. But like he said, he threw his hands up. He's ready to stand his ground. Big old boy looked at me, he said, what are you going to do? Bubba, you already know which way I go. I'm standing with the man.
Yeah, it's coming.
Because that's the way
You're
it
gonna
works. Well, the old boy's like, come here, give me a hug. My problem, I got a 350-pound man here, and I'm about 125. He screwed
You
up
got
when you
you
let
know
him
you
get
got to be
close.
careful of the little fellas.
Well, I grabbed a hold of that motherfucker's neck and I didn't let go until he was on the ground blue. Your life or my life. That I'm welcome to prison. Welcome to my world.
Right.
It's life for a life. If I
Yep.
gotta die, you're dying first.
That's a whole different world. That's a whole different world, and that's another event that this government, this society, is putting and caging people into. And
Hmm.
again, it's doing just like what it's doing to these parents that are losing
What
their
they're
kids. It's
intending to do.
breaking down the people. It's making it so that like you're so scared. Like listen to me. This is not like if you talk about raping women, like you talk about raping in jails, it doesn't work for the society. It doesn't happen because it is unacceptable to rape a woman. Absolutely, 100%.
Well,
As it should be unacceptable to rape a man. Absolutely. However, our
however,
society has dumbed that down. They've made it
but
so it
it's
isn't
okay in
such
there
an
though.
issue. And
It's
and
okay in
and
there.
yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. But now this is okay. It's not. It's just like what they do when they take your kids. No one's standing up. No one's coming to the aid of these people. No one goes to the aid of the kid that's getting raped in prison. No one's standing up for these people. No one's doing what God intended you to do is be and help thy neighbor and all of this shit. No one's doing it anymore. And our government is doing this to us every fucking day.
Well, let me explain to you how this really works in prison. Then. Because out here on the streets, I play prison rules. I don't play street
Oh,
rules.
you're damn right. I will too. You know what? You tell the truth, man. Truth is truth. Your word is your word, and that's it. You fucking get
That's
caught
it.
snitching, you're fucking dead. You get caught fucking lying, you're fucking dead. All of those things are great. Those are great rules, and you're
Yeah.
allowed to uphold. On this side of the fence, man. Someone steals your wallet, walks away. They're gonna go call the cops because you punched them in the face. The
That's
fuck
it
is
right
this?
there.
Now all of a sudden you stole my wallet. I hit you, and I'm going to jail for assault.
You got it right
Inside
there.
there,
That's
you
the
steal
problem.
my wallet, I catch you, we're gonna go toe to toe, I'm gonna beat your ass. You beat my ass, the dude that knows that you did me wrong, he's gonna step up behind me and beat your ass too, because it's not over till your ass is beat.
You know how that works right there. Motherfucker will step up, stand up. Motherfuckers will stand with them.
Yep, that's
But
what
if
I'm
you're not
saying,
willing to
man.
stand, ain't nobody can stand with you.
Yep,
But it all
unless you're
comes
gonna
down
do
to you.
shit. Unless you're gonna
But
do
like you
shit for
said,
yourself, man. No one's
and
gonna
that's
do
the
it.
real story.
Right,
But at
and
the
that's the
same
bottom
time,
line to all of this.
yeah. Well, that's like in prison this round. I know why I was put there. We were throwing race riots every week. Now think about that. You better figure out what race you stand with. Because if you stand with the wrong race, ain't nobody gonna stand with you. I mean, it come down to what it was. Nationality. It ain't about race, it's about nationality and culture. Point blank. But I mean, the biggest thing here is we got to bring these kids home. We got to realize the first rule of business here is a judge does not have the power over a person at all. That's something God denied to the judge. Because one, a judge cannot judge a man's heart or a woman's heart. But they're looking at profit here is what the situation is. They're thinking money over love, money over everything. I can buy a pussy, I can buy children, I can buy this. Not for sale, my friend. Human beings are not for sale. Animals are for sale. So therefore, they're treating you as an animal by less rights. It creates a diversity in the citizenship, which creates your federal complaint. The citizenship is what's important. Now,
All right, I'm
let me
sorry
see
about
you
that.
now.
I got that reverb again.
I hadn't heard it until you said that. But my biggest thing is this. You first have to realize you're not an animal and a judge has no authority. It's like these children are taken. They're not changing the birth certificate, my friend, just like the title on your car. They cannot change it. You have to. The judge can't do it. The prosecutor can't do it. Nobody can do it except the owner. Now, what they can't do is retitle it. And that's what you got going on with these kids. They're retitling them. That's why I mentioned the birth certificate looks like vehicle's title. Now, that's a great way to get you lost in the system, ain't it? You still having problems up there? But here's my biggest question. Biggest question of all.
There we go. I'm trying to figure out this reverb. And we're reverbing.
Let's see. I don't hear it here.
It's loud out here.
Are you catching reverb on it? But that's like I've told some of these parents here. You take that birth certificate of that child.
I intend to embarrass this government entity to the very core.
Something needs to be done because it's not right that they can just go ahead and remove your kid. And I mean, our daughter hasn't even been away from us for more than a day or two, or an hour or two, let alone 2 weeks now. And this just isn't right. And the facts prove it.
I will make sure that my daughter has nothing but the best for the remainder of her life. This kid had the world by every aspect that you possibly could. She was given every chance to become whatever she wanted. We talked daily about her becoming an astronaut or a pilot or, something that was just an amazing feat for her. And she knew the sky wasn't just her limit, man, space was. And my word is, the only thing she needs to be the best for the rest of her life is her mother and I. So let's do the right thing.
It gives them the right, some guardian ad litem that she's spoken with her maybe once, twice, 3 times that she's...
A vendetta, an homage, I don't know what you want to call it, but she's got something under her that's driving her to remove this kid from our lives. Oh, she's inexperienced. Inexperienced is what you're going to toss this to? You're going to give an inexperienced person the keys to my world, my heart, our everything? Inexperience is people that burn a pizza. Inexperience is bumping your car into something else, because you're an inexperienced driver. Introduced as a third wheel into a kinship family, which I'm thankful for, but that's not her own. She's not with her own mom and dad. She's not even allowed to have her own things. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to have gifts from us. Kaylee Leedy doesn't allow her to even take home simple food things from us when she visits us. It is brutal. Absolutely brutal not having Nina here in my life right now. I would rather sit behind a jail cell door and wait until that moment that I can be with my family again, and that would at least be something. But to sit here and know that she's the one that's suffering, this punishment isn't in my behalf, this is on hers. Now, I made a mistake. What CPS has done and are doing to our family is tearing us apart. In the framework of the investigation, it states clearly, do not recommend further investigation of this family. So why was it taken to that level? And why was it that my daughter was in such imminent danger that it took 8 days for the department to come and pick up my child after being ruled imminent danger? Tell me this. If you lie, you cheat, you steal, I don't want you in my life. DHS is full of that. I don't want them in my life. Help me get them out of my life. Because these people are people that I don't want to be around. I don't want them to have my daughter, Nina, out of our home and put her in a place that they screened. Do you know how long they screened? They screened her. They screened the family for no more than 2 hours prior. It took me 32 minutes to pull up the history of this family and find out that they operated under voyeur cameras, had porn websites, had all kinds of things going on there, that their kids that they had living there had witnessed their father get murdered by their mother, their faces stabbed off, they burnt the house down that they were living in, and this is where they put my 3-year-old daughter that was in imminent danger. Think about the things that Nina has seen now that we shadowed her from and sheltered her so that she never had to go through these things. Tell me now who needs to get the stanchion. Tell me now who's committing the acts of neglect and abuse. Tell me now. Tell me now who's going to look at Nina in the face. Tell her that she can trust her dad and her mom, and it was their mistake. I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. Nina. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nina fell on the floor. Where you fall? You fall on the ground. What are you doing on the ground? Don't pick. Just don't be alone. What do we got to do to that, buddy? Huh? Beaners. Beaners. Hey, Nina. Hey, look it. What we got to do? What we got to do to your boo-boo? How are we going to fix it? You going to put the Band-Aid on? Okay. What else do we need to have? Some chocolate? Should we call Mommy and get slushy? You don't think that will help? You want me to call Mama? Get slushy? What color?
Good evening, my family out there. I hope these messages find you well. For I come with you for the first transmission of hope. We are the united coalition of family fighters. For the last time, CPS has taken our children for profit and destroyed our family heritage and our hearts. Let this be known from this point forward. CPS, you have a battle on your hands that you've never seen before. We are going to attack you from the courtroom, from the computer desk, to the streets where you come and take our children from. Everywhere you turn, from this point forward, you will see one of us. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For those of you who've lost your kids, we are coming. Be hopeful. Be kind to one another. Stand as a legion. We will need you, for this fight will not be easy. And we can all not win it alone. We need to unite, strong, solid, for all to be a part. And when we do so, the destruction of Child Protective Services will finally be achieved. Stay tuned for your next transmission.
Well, that's that. How's the, how we sounding now? Back to that reverb again.
Yeah, I think what you got is an echo back in the system. It's kind of like when you put a tape recorder on a line, you'll get feedback.
Larry, let them all know what they're doing to us here, because I just went through. We're doing everything's fine, and what's just like last week.
That's basically just showing you they're back in your system with everything being redirected through the governor's IP address so he can listen to all conversations. What we have is each individual incorporated entity is literally listening into our conversations. Your communications are being taken over. Now, here's the thing. The first act of war will be the violation of FCC communications. That is a violation of wartime action. That is an action of war having been committed. So the first strike has actually been made. That's what's sad. My biggest thing that I tell people is this. Print out the Amber Alert, Missouri State Highway Patrol. Print out the form of it at the bottom where it states, no parent can be charged with kidnapping because the parent is the only one with a right to that child. Now, here's the thing. CPS has no issues because they have no right to your child. They, in fact, are unlawful completely. The biggest thing about this is your courts are incorporated. Your federals, your state, your county, your city are all incorporated entities. Under every Supreme Court and every federal appeals and above, the immunity applies to the individual and the partnership under business law of the individuals. They are immune from investigations or anything else by any of those corporations or incorporations. That's what creates the unlawful action here. Now, being said, the undue prejudice quality here of these courts and everybody else to get out of them is because corporations and incorporations have an unlimited resources and funds. The individuals do not. That is the imbalance of the court to create the illegal court action right there. Identify them as a corporation or an incorporation. Them judges are required to release you at that time. The act of slavery ended a long time ago. And I don't work for them people, and that's what I tell my clients. Whether it's a cop or anybody else, I don't work for you. And they take it very personally because they're right. We don't work for them, they're for us. That's the key to it.
All right, how do we sound now, guys?
All right, how do we sound now, guys?
I don't hear any info.
It's just one time it's me talking?
It's just one time it's me talking.
One time.
All right, so sorry about that, people. We're back here. Whew. All right. That's stressful, man. They're doing that stuff to us on purpose, man.
It's intentional. It's just the idea they're trying to show you something. We understand. If you're in a seat of power, ultimate power is the ultimate corrupt. That's what the point of the situation is, showing us who the boss they think is.
Yeah, well, they don't want us to get our words out there. They don't want us to be able to get what we're saying across. I mean, today we got a guest, Katrina, here. You know, like she's, you know, they don't want to get her out. You know, these people are devious and demons, man. They are the devil. They are from Satan. They're working for Satan. It's just incredible what they will stop. Look, when my wife used to go see our daughter, once they stopped me from being able to go with her, so mind you, I wasn't even allowed to ride with her in the same vehicle when she was able to go see Nina. They said I wouldn't even be able to go in the vehicle, and it was 100 miles to go for our show. To go see our daughter. So I couldn't ride with her. So every time when she would leave on Wednesdays, one time there was 5, not one, but 5 big, long carpenter nails stuck in the side of the sidewalls of the tires on the inside of the back. The exhaust fell off. The timing chain went one other time. So these people will stop at nothing to make sure that you look like the enemy to everybody else. This isn't just so when these people are walking around saying, oh, they're fucking with me, they're doing this, they are people. They're gang stalking people. They're doing all kinds of things to people to make them out to be bad. So you need to believe when people are telling you that they're doing this. And you got to write your senators, call your congressmen, do whatever you can do, make noise.
That's your biggest key right there. We've had insurance companies here in our town that refuse to pay out the policy to their clients. The individual literally took the back glass of his vehicle and load on it. His farm is screwing me out of my policy. I'm a policy holder and refused to pay out. They sent the cops after him and get him to remove it. He said, "This is my vehicle. I might have it back. There ain't shit you can do about it." But it was the idea of their credit that he was attacking publicly. That got actually made him pay out.
Well, you know that's going to be the next thing that's going to come in is you're going to have a certain credit score, or if you have delinquencies, or if you have things like this. China already does it. China already has like a social mapping, if you will, that they look at you on their little maps of people running around in the cameras, and it actually has a score attached to these people. So the people that are viewing the human what?
Not human trafficking, but a human traffic map.
Human traffic map.
Yeah, literally. Basically, real-time collecting on your equipment. If you got the vaccine, same as the cattle, we can track you in the world right now. So technically, there is no cattle thieving going on because they're all tracked. They think the idea of security will stop all crime. Well, here's the problem. You outlaw my guns. See, you're not committing a crime. Outlawing the tool. Now that makes me a criminal to use that tool. That's what they're doing.
Well, they're using all kinds of things against you.
Well, here's the biggest problem. When I was in jail for unlawful possession of a firearm, so I don't have a victim. No victim, no crime. What am I doing in this courtroom again? That's illegal courtrooms. No complainant, no signed complaint will prove there is not a reason for that courtroom. That's abuse. All day long. You see what I mean about the complainant? Even with your child cases. The problem is this. They know I'm here to take out child support completely off the books. But the problem is, when I do this, the business child support enforcement, which is a debt collection agency, is going to be required to pay off all child supports out of its pocket. They know it's getting ready to get the biggest damage it's ever had. Because one, I proved all these attorneys misrepresenting the policy procedure of state, which they misrepresent as law as well, for alimony, not child support. There's a difference. The child is food, lodging, and clothing. Alimony over here for your ex-wife is money and property. See where the misrepresentation.
So they can live comfortably. They can live comfortably. No, we don't want to interrupt their lives for your hard work.
Well, here's they create a slave of men, and her the slave master, so she can have 20 fucking kids. There's 20 fucking child supports coming at her. 20 men working for her. That's Cleopatra. That's the queen bee theory. And it's actually working. But these men have got to come home, wake the fuck up, stop working for a minute, and handle your damn business. Your kids are in fucking trouble and they need you. Mommy's turning out daughters to be whores. Because mommy can't do it alone. She can't grow little.
Right, they're creating daughters, they're making children just to be their friends and to be able to help run the household.
You got it. But here's the problem, and I've been running across a lot of these women. I need you to be a parent, not a fucking friend. A friend is a pedophile. Just to get it real. Why else would you be a friend to your child? Except to get their friends.
Right, well,
now, you know what I'm getting at, though.
No, I do understand.
There's a time to be a parent.
Right, and this is the unfortunate part is that the game that this is being played and what they're doing and what DHS is doing is they're leading pedophilia to be an easy game for these people.
Oh, easy ain't the word. These governors, my governor here in Missouri, his wife is the mother of the convicted pedophile who kidnapped and raped my kids. In order to hide that, they sent the law enforcement and attorneys of the state after me. to send me to prison. They sent me to 5 years, set me up for a firearm because they wanted a firearm charge.
Right.
Well, here's the problem. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. It ain't illegal for a goddamn inmate or a felon to carry a firearm. What you do with a firearm makes the difference. Now you got a victim. Now you got a crime.
Right.
But otherwise, it is not illegal, as in 2014 they approved. U.S. Supreme Court in St. Louis. A firearm is a tool just like a shovel. Point blank. It's
Right.
not illegal to
Especially
carry a
out where you
firearm.
guys are, man.
Especially out where you guys are, man.
Well, the whole point is I'm between two cities, and just like Chicago, one of the murder capitals in the world. If I don't have a firearm, what do you think I better? I'm like, what? You want to bring a knife to the gunfight, son? You got a bunch of scared ass kids who were torn from their families here, and they're scared, is what they are. They never had dad to show them how to get their hands. Drop the bullshit. Get you in there, boy, and whoop that ass.
Yeah, and
That's
then
the
what you're
difference.
doing there
What
is
you're
now you're
doing there
making a
is
bunch
now
of
you're making a
trigger.
bunch of
You're
trigger.
making a bunch of
You're
trigger
making a
happy
bunch of
people,
trigger
man.
happy
Scared
people, man.
people behind the
Scared people
bullet,
behind
being
the
behind the
bullet,
gun
being
instead of
behind the gun
confidence.
instead of confidence.
That's it right there. And like I tell
Yeah.
most of these cats, man, and I've got a lot of UFC fighters around the country here. When you're not willing to face a man as a man, you're a coward. I don't give a fuck who you are. Any coward pulls that fucking trigger. But here's the bad thing. You just killed your best fucking friend. If you'd have faced him like a man, y'all have been best friends like you never knew. Created a
Yeah.
bond that nobody can break. I've got a friend of mine, I got into it with a cop here in this town. He lived in Tennessee. He don't know how it happened. I don't know how it happened. He ended up in this town that night with a videotape of me fighting that cop. That's what kind of bonds and friendships I'm talking about. Miles don't matter. They're there.
Right.
It's a godly thing. But it's also the idea of separating these parents from child is to break that bond. That's what they fear, is the bond. Parent and child has a bond that nobody. I'm sorry, your child dies, and you've had your child all your life, growing it up, teaching that child as your family, and you were traditional. That child dies at some point, you'll know it, no matter where you are. Just
Yeah.
like here's the situation on these pedophiles, and I've verified this multiple times. It's called the unnatural bind or bond. You rape the moment somebody kills that pedophile, and it don't matter where they're at, that victim knows it. That's the bond, the trauma-based bond that they're doing to these kids. It's converting the child and inverting him, literally inversion, away from God. This is the trauma mind-based control, is what it is. Constant trauma. And that's what's fucked up about this. Here's the thing. These families were fine before these doctors decided to come in here and screw y'all around. Governor, State Board of Medical, to the nurse practitioner running your social services. Like I said, it's the governor, it's the president. I'm here after the head of the snakes. That's it. Those are the snakes. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. Every state has a minimum of 1,000, 2,000 dead fucking social kids. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a business plan. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the identical numbers running across the country in every damn state. Now, you got about the same number of missing kids. Well, my governor here's wife birthed a pedophile who they're protecting as a government director to stop law enforcement to target me and attorneys while he rapes my fucking kid and keeps her kidnapped stuck under trauma.
That's just fucking terrible, dude.
Terrible. He just don't realize. I get along with everybody, but they've got eyes on him nonstop. That's the one reason I'm stopping.
You got to ask you this. How many states have a deficit right now? And if they don't, you're going to have to figure out why. It's not that hard.
You're correct. But here's the thing. People are not cattle. So we have to be treating people as less than human in order to put prisons, in order to steal their children. That's like livestock sales. And that's point blank, that's what they're doing to you. Treating you less than human. I mean, you don't even do this to a damn dog. You'll treat the dog better than you will a person. That's the insult to injury.
Yeah,
Then
I
they
mean,
take
you
care of
call
the
you call the game warden or whatever. You ever see somebody messing with a little duckling like they do this? You know, you see a bird fall out of a nest, man. 20 people calling the cops, telling that some guy came and took it out of the nest. But you get one
Yep.
kid taken out by DHS, everybody runs away like you got the fucking plague.
Yep. Well, remember that immunity clause I kept telling you about from the incorporation and the corporation, from investigations and everything?
Yeah.
Because you are the master. The parents, they are the identical as the U.S. president and the national security situation. You are the authority of this country. It isn't the president. It's every family here.
Right.
You take one of us, you better be fighting for your life. My thing is this. This is an attack upon the country, point blank. We emancipated from England a long time ago. Now that's important because we stood up. We became not as children, but as an adult. Now you got all these others wanting to attack us all in one shot. Come on, man. We got to
Right.
raise our flag. That's what we need to do here. They took it down in 1962. They took away God from us, according to the courts. The courts are an incorporation. Of course, they don't celebrate God. And here's the thing with these social workers and judges and all the assholes you keep seeing. There's a planning and zoning map in every town here. It will identify commercial and administrative zones. Now, residential is a different outside their authority. It's actually under the house of God. That's where the little houses of God, being the family, reside. It's outside. Family law is outside of commercial law at all. So these courts don't have a lawful reason to even have you in a courtroom. But their little demons want to jump over here, steal your children over to there into the commercial section like they've got a right to your kids. This is cattle
And hopefully
rustling.
they do it all in the cover of darkness or
Well, they do it
incarceration.
when you're the weakest.
Yeah.
They stalk you, buddy. But that's the whole point. They're stalking. That's why I call this cattle rustling. Because here's the thing. When I prove cattle rustling, I'm going to spin the card one more time. And I'm going to identify this as a child. It's a human being. Under human rights, it cannot be property. And they're going to have to admit, you're right, we kidnapped a human being. That's terrorism. Let's go play this card again. So, same point. We should be in the U.S. Supreme Courthouse, which is what's dealing with the national security of the situation in this country. That's where every family belongs right now. It's not identical to the president, my friend. That is the national security of this country. Is every family here.
Yep.
I happen to know a lot of people. I have a lot of connections. That's the difference between me and them. Not everybody has the same resources. But I'm going to tell you right now, for every parent out there fighting, you're not alone. But they're trying to keep our voices divided. Because we are not, well, when we play in industrial games, and that's what I'm talking about in corporations, when you call in, you ever heard that recording? These calls will be recorded for education or such by them industrial relations.
Yeah.
That proved RICO right there. They're claiming education and entertainment, my friend. That's their escape card. Because they're so big they can't fall, right? Wrong. That's an action of RICO, and then we'll take them all.
So what does the average person? What's the average person got to do to start this thing?
Well, technically, you never lost the right to your child. First of all, you got to realize that. Because let's just be real, like the title of your car, it is property. Your child is intellectual property. Intellectual is your family right to place the knowledge of your family in that child. And that's just the real deal. Basically, you need to get them kids, take them from social services, get to a news media station, and get that call out there is what's needed. Our Amber Alerts emergency response towers have been taken over. They have been taken down from the people by officers and governor. Your Media Broadcast Association is the media tower boards. We need our towers back. That's how you issue out Amber Alerts, weather emergencies, everything else to the people. We are the civil defense of this country. They are not. We are the people. They're trying to steal authority from us. Them towers are ours. Those children are ours. We are the ones paying their goddamn bills. And look how they're living above us.
Yeah, look how they treat us, right?
Yeah. Well, they're the welfare agent. They're receiving welfare paychecks off the backs of these people. That's what a government check is. Point blank. That's government. They're all paid by the people, and that's a welfare check because you're a fucking failure. You couldn't make it on your own is what it is.
Yeah, but they've made it so that that's what we do now as a society.
Yeah,
And I'll be
well,
honest, here's the point: is they destroy people so much that they don't have a choice. But that's what the system was developed for: to help hold up that person, to regain and to move forward, to pick them up in a bad time. But I'll tell you, when they steal your kid, they cripple you, man.
Well, it's to take over a nation, my friend. It's to kill the spirit of a nation. This is how they intended to kill God here, was taking these children. To kill God.
Right. You're gonna just take our kids, you're destroying the future of everything.
Well, it's the future of that family. Now, here's one of the things about the Bible. When Jesus cured that woman on the road to Bethlehem, he told everybody this story. He cured the woman because only God's people, followers, have children. Your demons do not. They needed those children to survive. Because like God said, my people who have children, not theirs.
So it's our godliness that makes us have our child.
Yes, that's when you realize who you are, but it takes a man, it takes a woman. That is your godliness. That is the covenant of God. Of a father to the son, and mother to the daughter, of the children. That's the covenant they want to break so bad. And that's the covenant we got to restore. These parents have got to wake up. Because if they don't wake up, this world's dead. It's going to die. It's going up in fire, homie. He's going to burn.
Quicker than most think.
Yeah, you don't have much time. You got to about 2036 at the latest. At that point, that 1% per year drop is going to start to do a real fast increase. And that's when they've got a way off this planet. You guys don't.
Yeah, we don't have no ships that
Yes, we do.
Well, I don't.
Well, you're with me, you do. But they're going to tell you all to go underground if they let you in.
Yeah. If.
Let's just be real. Y'all die, I die. I'm staying right here with you all. And that's just the real deal.
I hope I got faith, man.
Yeah, ain't but one way to do this, man. Is restore that covenant, God. You gotta restore God's name. We gotta bring these churches back.
Yep, we gotta fulfill God's heart, man. We gotta make him realize that it's not as awful here as he thinks.
Yeah, it's not even that. He's insulted. He's mad. Somebody changed the Bible here from an insult.
Right. Well, I mean, he's pissed off, man. He didn't go through all this creating this and these rules to follow and for kindness and and goodness and wholesome and all that. For everybody to just fuck off, steal our kids, and do scientific experiments with them.
You got it right there. Because you broke the house is what they did. To get to the children. A man and a woman is like a boat. It's a friendship, it's a relationship. Here's the thing. A left side and a right side of a boat come together. It creates a wedge. It's what raises you above the waters. You're above them. That's what they don't get. And that's just the real story. Where's them children? They would be in their boat. Safe. They want to pretend the United States went underwater and they sunk our boats or sunk our battleship. We're not underwater, my friend. That's the problem. They're violating and jumping over these borders. I mean, let's just be real. Pedophiles are coming under the embassy, and they're not documented. Now, isn't that
those ones are all given the diplomatic immunity too, right?
Yeah, you go. Now you're getting it.
That means that they are completely untouchable.
No, sir. Upon U.S. soil, an act of terrorism is a shootable offense, but you got to get them on on our soil. They get away, they're gone. Here's the thing.
Yeah, they get away with your kid, they're gone.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. And we have contracts with the Security Exchange Commission that those kids are being sold to third world countries where child labor is legal.
There you go.
That is, the information is there. It's public all day. You just don't know where to look.
Right.
You don't know the right questions. But the biggest thing is this. Government does not run us. We run them. I don't care. Them fools up there, look at that national debt, my friend. If they were any good at running business, that would be a positive instead of a negative. And them fools are still writing checks that their asses can't cash. But here's the thing.
Should be easy too.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They're writing them checks. We're not. They owe that back to the people. That's how we hold them together. That's what we hold them under. It's the national debt. It's time to pay up. You've been stealing for so damn long. It's time to pay up. And you're living above the people? My friend, that's welfare fraud. Taking these people, putting them in prison, taking these kids, you're committing them to Medicaid and Medicare. And now that foster family has a Medicare and Medicaid, which is denying good protection and insurance from these kids and these families. While these other families they took their children from, are going broke.
Yep.
So you're creating a Medicare situation, which is a Medicaid and Medicare fraud. Where's your Attorney General? Like I said, he's not doing his job. Now you see what it is? If we'd been working, doing what we, instead of them taking away our jobs, we'd have been out here working. So we're going to have to create some work. Because we need our private insurance back. That's what it is. But they decided with the prisons, it works so good to give an inmate Medicare and Medicaid. We'll get the housing authority, get them to pay the prisons that much money. Plus we get the insurance, the money. And now we're going to give the guards, which is getting paid off them inmates back. They get private insurance while we get none. And you wonder why we burn prisons down right now.
Yeah, well, we don't today because
my brothers, they don't want to open them doors. I got enough people
no,
to burn them all down. And that's what's got to happen, because I'm going to tell you right now, under an action of war, the first people to die are them boys in them prisons, or they'll be abandoned. And that's just the real story. Those are your freedom fighters. Those are the boys fighting for every goddamn right these people had.
Yeah, that's what that's what we're all about, man. United Coalition of Family Fighters.
That's what it's all about.
You know, I want to create one group, like one solid unity, for all of us to get together and fight to protect the American family. I'll read you what this is the mission statement that we came out. Project is to because we're going to start a fund and everything with the store. So we got the Shopify store. We're doing all these political T-shirts with and everything. So we're going to do to assist in true reunification services of families torn apart by CPS corruption. Educate the public on illegal tactics used in CPS investigations and how to defend your rights to avoid CPS interference in your God-given right to family and constitutional protection for life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, to help bring justice to so many who have been unjustly detained, removed, abused, neglected, as well as prosecuting those who have direct or indirectly imposed unconstitutional as well as committed severe criminal acts towards families. No more immunity. We need accountability and most of all, transparency for all.
That's a fact.
That's what we stand by here.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Like I said, you use my DUNS number to collect all these people together under one action of defense, and I'm good with it. Whatever it takes to get this done, let's get this sucker done. They're dividing everybody. Let's collect them.
Well, that's the whole idea. But with the thing I'm trying to create here, the United Coalition of Family Fighters, man. Let's get all these groups together in one spot, one group united. That way, it's all of us, because there's so many good groups out there, man. But there's not enough. It's not enough to make the band, like the hand.
Oh, brother, how about I give you a leg up on this one, okay?
You leg me up, Laird.
Chicago, Fathers' Rights Incorporated.
All right, there we go. That's the place to start.
Oh, my friends.
All right.
We're
Well,
talking
then
doctors,
that's where we're gonna begin.
all that. That's a hell of a leg up. Them boys been fighting for years, and they're still fighting for us.
All right, so we're gonna go with them. We'll get them in on this. Katrina, you got any good groups that you know of that need to get in with us here? Father's Rights. What is that?
That's Chicago.
Chicago's the Father's Rights.org.
It's actually run by Flanagan. This is kind of how I know why COVID is pesticide poisoned and everything else. His wife is a pulmonary specialist at a VA home. Good people.
That's in Chicago.
Now remember, that also implies the action of Department of Defense as well, and Department of Justice. Now, the funny thing about the Department of Justice hierarchy is because it goes like this: the President, the Federal Attorney General, to the Department of Justice.
So it's the President
To the Federal Attorney General, to the Department of Justice. And that is the line of transmission. Your president likes to use these lines: the U.S. Health and Human Services and the Department of Labor. Those are his key points. That's why I say I'm bringing you all up to the top.
President, the FAG, and then the what was it?
Where you at?
The President, the FAG, and then the who was the next one?
The Department of Justice.
So we take out those three entities.
Got you already. Department of Justice, I threw the civil rights complaints by all contractors and employees. Technically, it's in tailspin. All I need to do is take its DUNS number to the IRS for destruction with its DUNS number out of New York. I destroyed your big money bank right there. Which is technically how I kicked task force in his ass. Because he's a doctor licensed under the DEA, which is under the Department of Justice. That's what I'm saying about contractor to employees. But since I play IRS games, it's principal to agent, agent to principal, full notification. And these become claim for funding against what their mission statement was and for their claim. Because it becomes civil rights violations, undue influence, everything else becomes, it strikes out their money and it will destroy the EIN by the Treasury. We can eliminate our own country at this point. I mean, if we can't get them under control, I'm going for the EINs, the performance bonds, and their DUNS numbers. And I'll take them out.
Take that motherfucker out.
That's the whole point of it. We get bad boards on this ship. We got to replace that sucker, do something. It's got to go. That's how we're going to get her floating again, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Keeping our things nice.
Well, it helps to know where to go. You know what I mean? I didn't get here by myself, I promise you. A lot of people, a lot of information, a lot of walking the path to figure it out. But, I mean, I'm thankful to every damn one of them, including control of them. Like I said, We've never done this alone. My biggest thing is I'll give credit where credit's due. Because I don't like credit.
Who does, man? If you can't pay for it in cash, then what the fuck's the sense?
That's the point. They want a debtor society for debtor's prison.
Yep. That's just keeping us all involved and together and keeping us contractually connected to them. That's all it is.
Well, technically, but they're indebted to us. But they went to decide to go into the world banking to pull money, to put us in further debt. I'm sorry. I didn't write that check. You didn't write that check. Them monkeys wrote that check.
Right, and the only monkeys that are going to be getting that money is the New World Order that they're trying to collect and make us a part of. Make that one world currency. To get this, this is a bigger part of the bigger plan. But we as Americans and American citizens here, we need to start locally, get into our towns, get into the government here, start breaking it apart.
We need work and we need business, brother.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So start working, be self-employed, be self-sufficient, and start breaking this system apart from the roots up, man.
That's how it's going to work. I mean, my thing is this. Our politicians sold out every business and industry we have. Claiming the United Nations says it was bad for us. Who the fuck are you? We live here. Y'all don't live here. It's like every man has a right to say for himself. I don't need a mouthpiece.
Yeah, I can speak for my own.
That's it. That's the point of a man, ain't it?
Well, I don't think that's the only point, but yeah, you close.
But it's just a big point of it. Getting these attorneys to talk for you ain't working.
No, well, attorneys speak for the dead, man.
Yep, and they're actually part of the bar, which is part of the incorporated entity. So technically, they're not helping you, and no victim has ever been paid nor compensated.
Really?
All to fraud. Prosecuting attorney has never paid nobody.
Okay.
Don't that seem odd? The attorney general. They send you these penny checks while they bill you out.
Yeah.
But that's what we were talking about earlier, about the hospitals taking your patient account information from the birth of your child, converting you into a bond over here with their DUNS number into the stock exchange market to create the slavery upon you, which works kind of like the Army, don't get me wrong, or the citizens of a state of Missouri. I own the DUNS number for state of Missouri. I'm going to take my DUNS number over here and I'm going to get by the birth certificate information that they're HIPAA violations by selling that information on top of that to reclaim you, and now you're mine. You're my cattle. That's literally what happened. That's where your school boards come in.
Boards. Once again, people boards.
Yeah, the boards are the key. You got a professional registration boards. That's how you take out a social worker. You got the medical healing arts. You got the state medical board. That's how you take out them doctors. Judicial committees are how you take out the judges. The association, which is a board as well, is required to become attorneys. This is how you use the parts of this ship. That's just
and it's replacing. It's not fixing.
No. We got to get this sucker above water, get this United Nations out of here, because that's commercial.
Right, we need to get this boat floating so we can fucking sail off into the sunset, man.
You got that right. Otherwise, they're taking our bodies and our children. We never sunk until they took our flag and our God away. That's the only thing we got to restore.
Our godliness, our flag, and our kids, man.
That's right. That's how
those three, then we have the United States of America back.
We can fight for our kids at home, but we can't fight for them if they're gone. Because as far as being
gone,
sir. The part of this, the closing of a contract with a funeral home will show you. You've got a viewing to be able to believe they're dead.
Right.
But these parents don't know if their children are dead or alive. They're stuck in limbo.
Oh, it sucks. It's purgatory.
That's exactly what it is. Physically, spiritually, it's purgatory. This was the trick of the devil, my friend. One of his 8 parties. Yeah. But you got to realize
Yeah.
they have no power over us. We run this
It's
government. They don't. Say what?
It's a wound that can't heal.
Nope, it sure is.
And it's going to be there for a long ass time. But here's
No,
my problem. When an angel has to fly, you got to understand something. It's the breath of them children that makes the wind underneath their fucking wings. Without that breath, speaking of them parents, grandparents, them angels will fucking burn. And you really want to test that card? Because I'm going to tell you right now, a fire angel ain't nothing to fuck with.
Oh, well, and I think with that one, Laird, I think that's a good show for today. I think we give enough for the people that suck in here.
Right.
I don't know. You got any last words you want to throw out to this?
Trina, what do you got? I know you've been through hell.
Yeah, this woman needs to be held up. That's what she needs. See, that's why we need strong groups of unity to hold people like her up, man. She wants to fight. She just needs to know that she got people right next to her holding her ass up, because we're all going through the same thing.
She's been fighting for a while, and they just keep taking her family and keep taking her.
Yeah, that's it, man. She getting beat up.
Well, that makes her a targeted individual as well.
Yep.
This ain't about law. It ain't about justice.
No, this is personal. It's about.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not about the vengeance, man. It's about the reckoning.
That's the redemption, I call it.
Yes, sir. They are all owed something.
That's an understatement of the week. God gave you them miracles, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Some of us don't know the value of them miracles. Some people
They don't have a price.
That's correct.
My life is it.
It's like a family tradition. You can't replace it.
Right, exactly. Yep.
One of the biggest things about America, it used to be the strongest nation built on pride and honor. It used to be built on something. But they want to undermine us, and we need to build something right.
Right, we did from the bricks, the foundation, man, started from the ground up.
The foundation is square, we'll be square.
We'll be square, yep.
But if you ain't got a foundation, your house won't stand, will it?
No one wants a wobbly foundation, man.
Exactly. Well, brother, I definitely appreciate it. I'll holler at Katrina on the sideline.
All right. And all of you all be good to one another because we all need it. And we'll see how this one went. And we'll all do another one real soon.
All right.
Thank you guys very much.
Yep.